Hey listeners, thanks again for joining us for another episode of Meet the Agent, where we interview real estate agents from across the country to learn about their business strategies, plus the challenges and triumphs of working in the real estate industry. We'd love to get your feedback about the episode, so email us directly at media@setschedule.com. Now, let's meet the agent. Hey listeners, thank you so much for joining us today for another episode of Meet the Agent. I'm here with Kevin A. Kent, who has an office in Newport Beach. We're going to talk to him today about his business strategies and how he has become so successful in the real estate industry. Kevin, thank you so much for joining me today. Let's get started telling our listeners a little bit about yourself and your business.
Well, because I'm not 25, I'm 65, I could tell my background for like the whole hour, right?
Perfect. Let's hear it.
But, I'm trained as a musician and went to Hollywood to be a rock star. Didn't happen. Got into high-tech music gear, very expensive synthesizers and that kind of thing. Went to Silicon Valley and was right off the bat sales manager, director of sales, VP sales. I launched a bunch of companies. Moved back to LA again to be a rock star. And but my clients were pretty cool. My clients were Stevie Wonder and Elton John and Rod Stewart and all this kind of stuff. And I went to work for this little company called Apple when they were first launching in Hollywood. And after a while, I realized maybe it's time to get out of Hollywood, since I had a little 2-year-old in my arms, and I moved to Orange County and never looked back. I have done a lot of business in Los Angeles, but my background and training has always been in sales. And in fact, speaking to the real estate guys out there, the one thing that always kind of surprised me about realtors when I first got into business is that how many people thought that because they had done something other than sales, they should be good at real estate. Real estate's a sales job. I mean, it really is. If you don't have your follow-up down, if you don't have your pitch down, if you don't have your scripts down, if you don't have your personality, the sales personality, it's not going to happen. And I never realized until I actually got into real estate that that's just what I always did. I mean, I'm funny. I've written a bunch of movies that are comedies and stuff, so I have a tendency to do funny stuff. And as a result, I'm kind of maybe more entertaining than most realtors. But I got into real estate about 5 years ago. My youngest son had gotten really sick, and it cost us a lot of money to get him safe and sound, which he just graduated today.
Congratulations. Congratulations to him. Where did he graduate from?
He went to Chico State as a baseball player. He got a
Congratulations.
scholarship.
That's awesome.
But of course, no NCAA or no CCA, whatever it is, baseball to finish off his senior year. He didn't have any losses. All he had was wins. He was 1.9 ERA. Everything was going great. But he was the guy that, and it's kind of like in the blood. It'd be a tie game, 8th inning, bottom of the eighth. No outs. The other team's got 3 men on base, and they go, "Oh, we're going to the bullpen. Here comes Alex Kent." And he always said, I guess I can say, "Oh shit," right? He said, He's the "oh shit" guy. So when the team was like total trouble, they put him in, total confidence on the mound, get in there, and as he always used to joke, nobody's going to die, because he almost did, but not on the mound. So in any case, after his whole thing, situation in the hospital, I said, I got to do real estate. I had done real estate in the past as the consumer. Mm-hmm. I'd sold like 10 houses and bought my first one when I was probably your age, in the Redwoods in Northern California.
Very cool.
And I always made money on them. And so I thought, I'll get into real estate. And so I got my license, which I thought was fairly easy to get. And then my first year, it was kind of funny. I trained at First Team, which is a local company here in Irvine. Then I went and I worked for them for a month and just didn't like the manager at the office there. Mm-hmm. I'll remain nameless. And then I walked across the street to go to work at Keller Williams. And my very first year in Keller Williams, and they kept saying, "Well, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this." And my very first year, I was Rookie of the Year for Keller Williams for Southern California. Mm-hmm. The best comment I ever got from one of the guys there is he said to me, he goes, "I don't understand how you could be Rookie of the Year." I said, my wife's a discrimination attorney. So, is this age discrimination you're giving me here? What's going on? And he goes, "No, I just never saw you work." I said, "This is work?" I said, "This is fun." I said, I never heard there was such thing as a free lunch until I got into real estate. But, I kicked ass. I mean, I had a lot of fun. I did sell. This is a crazy story. The realtors out there are going to go, "No way." The very first open house I did, the very first person that walked in the house, I sold them the house.
Wow. That's lucky.
Yeah, it wasn't luck, no luck involved.
It was
But the
skill.
truth is, I didn't have a clue really what I was doing, except I knew I could sell them. And I think that's where it gets back to that theme of like, like you really need to have your sales chops together in real estate. I mean, that really is fundamentally what it is. And, I'm a really good marketing guy. When I had those director of sales titles, it was also director of sales and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very shrewd marketing. And that's actually why I like you guys. I mean, I think what you do is, providing me market feedback constantly. I mean, that's what we need,
Good. Glad we can help.
And so I don't know where it's going. But in any case, I've done it for 5 years now, but I'm in Irvine. I wanted to get over the hill to Newport. So I met with some guys at a luxury property function at Pelican Hills, and started talking to him. And I teased the guy about his pocket squares and his tie and his socks. I was going for it, right? And he was just cracking up, and he looked at his VP sales. He goes, we want this guy. And there's my dog in the background.
No worries.
Because we want this guy. I got over the hill, and I worked for this company for a short period of time. And I'll leave him nameless just because I wasn't happy there. And it was this typical kind of situation where all the pretty girls got the open houses. And my real specialty is open houses. I mean, people walk in the door. It's like it's like a comedy show for me. I just have so much fun and tease them. And I have this routine down to a T where, my background, by the way, in Hollywood is I made movies. I wrote movies. Mm-hmm. So I always do movies about the houses that I represent. Okay. And I have one of those voices. When I need to use that voice, I've got it. Right? So I've actually been going out as the voice of Orange County real estate. So I do that. And last year, of the 8 houses that I did open houses for, I did movies for as well.
Cool.
And I sold 6 of them.
Wow, that's amazing. What a cool background that you can incorporate in. Like, obviously, you're so passionate about what you do, but being able to pull in your other passions to, combining all of your passions together makes it so much fun.
Well, it doesn't matter if you're pitching a movie or pitching a high-tech, synthesizer or whatever it is you're pitching. People can pick up on passion. And if they sense that you don't have it, if you walk in the house, like, this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. I think you're going to like the kitchen. It's a really cute house. You're done,
Totally.
And I think the bigger benefit, other than, the passion has to be there. That's just like a given for me, but I'm a writer. So in fact, I wrote a book on real estate. After being in business for 6 months, I wrote a book on buying and selling real estate. And the broker where I was working, he goes, on what authority can you write you've only done 3 deals. I say, I know. I said, but I haven't been doing this for 20 years, like a lot of you guys. So I need to have some authority to speak by or speak with.
Definitely.
So when people walk into my open house, granted, I don't have the old version, but when people walk in the open house, and I'd greet them and I'd say, I'm Kevin A. Kent, da 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 da. I would, I let them look around the house, and they come down. I'd say, you know what? I really like you, and I like your family, and I like your socks. I want to give you my book on real estate. This was now on buying. It used to be on buying and selling. I really want to give you this, and then I'd open up the front page and say, these are great secrets to have. And I say, let me get your name in here. Now, you go by Murgatroyd or Maggie or Margie, and I'd dedicate it to you. And then I'd say, while I've got you, let me get your phone number and email so I can follow up with you about what's going on with this house. My database is massive.
That's awesome.
Everybody that walks in the door, I get their phone number and email, right?
Yeah.
And I want to point out that those phone numbers and emails, I shouldn't say that. Should I say this? Yeah. They're usually more correct than the phone numbers I get from you guys. So
we'll cut that out.
A lot of people put some weird stuff. But by the way, that's why I was very encouraged. I attended the online, Zoom call yesterday.
Webinar, yeah.
Webinar. And I'm very encouraged by that. That's the kind of stuff I want to see.
Good.
And I went back to the website too, and I looked at the little snowflakes everywhere.
Uh-huh.
Love this. So I started clicking on those and calling on those. I think you guys have your head screwed on about what we need, and I know it's not your fault as you're aggregating all these leads from all over the place, and some of them are nuts. I got a really weird one. I'm not going to tell you this because we're live. We're recording.
Tell me after.
I got a bizarre one the other day. It was like, and it made me laugh because I'm a comedy guy. I thought, I'll use this in my comedy routine. But in any case, so my success was really based upon open houses. It always was. And when I left this other company on the other side of the hill and went to Villa, which I was fortunate to get into because I don't have 20 years experience, on a roster of, 50, 100, 200, 300 customers.
Mm-hmm.
I got in there partially by saying, I wrote the book on real estate. And one banker that I did a bunch of deals with my very first year, in fact, we did 6 deals together. He used to refer me to people and they'd say, well, why'd you refer me to Kevin Kent? Kevin Kent wrote the book on Orange County real estate this year.
He literally wrote the book on real estate.
So it worked. And if I couldn't back it up with being real about it and being a good negotiator, because that's all I've done my whole life, it would be complete bullshit.
Yeah.
But it was. And I can walk the walk and talk the talk, and I never BS anybody. If I walk into a house and it smells funky and they say, doesn't it smell funky in here to you? I don't go, I don't smell a thing. I always say, yeah, as a matter of fact, and what we do is we'll get an inspector in here and find out what that is, only if you love the house. If not, let's just blow it. Let's move on.
Totally.
But that whole sense of honesty and sense of being really, really truthful people, that pays off. And that's kind of why.
People appreciate it, definitely.
Well, they only appreciate it. They expect it. And if they can't trust you to be honest with them, how can they expect you to negotiate for them and, give them the right lender or whatever?
Mm-hmm. And find their dream house for them.
That's right. Okay. So I rambled on there.
No, that's awesome. I love the content. It's so cool to talk to you with such a diverse background, a crazy background, but you're able to pull, your experience in the entertainment industry from music and comedy and movies, and you're able to pull that into your everyday profession in the real estate industry. That's something that I think no one else can really say that they can do.
Well, I have to say that the writing part of it, the fact that I've written some comedies and I'm kind of funny anyhow, I can just tell you that one of the houses I sold last year, and someone originally, so being at Villa, I have access to a lot of really nice properties to do open house for. And when I go to them, I say, look, I'll do your movie for free. I'll write the script, I'll do the voiceover, I'll do the music, whatever, I'll do your movie for free, and I'll send it out to 5,000 of my best friends. And so they get all excited because I follow up with the social media stuff. I blast it out on Facebook, all stuff. But I'll tell you right now, it's the writing of my scripts. I don't just do some movie with corny synthesizer pop music in the background. Most people do, right? Yeah. Nice graphics, right? I do a script with a voiceover. And I was talking to this buyer the other day. He goes, I said, so what did you like about the movie? And this is 6 or 8 months ago. And he was a broker and he ended up buying it through me. He's a commercial broker. And he goes, I love the line you had in the back. It says, not only do you get you have a 35-foot dock on the back of the house, which is just fantastic. You bring the yacht, I'll bring the margaritas. And he goes, when you said that, I just kind of thought, this guy's a nut, And when he went back there and when I was showing him the house, he goes, do you have the margaritas? I said, do you have the yacht? And we ended up being pretty good friends. But it's kind of comedic kind of little stuff that people remember. And so that storytelling thing, and I hear so many people saying, oh, when I show a house, it's all about the story. Most people don't have a clue what the story of the house is. Totally. We're working on a really big one right now, affectionately referred to as the White House, which is down at Corona Del Mar. It's a $20 million house, but it's got history to it. Like Reagan's been in there and all that kind of stuff. And, we'll see if we market it. But to me, the story of the house is truly interesting. It's truly intriguing. And I like that stuff. And people respond to that. But more importantly, they remember. Yeah. People remember story. And they always have, and they always will. So, hey, look at that. My hand disappears. So that's, you're talking about the Hollywood stuff. To me, the ability to write a good script is key. I just happen to have one of these voices that works, and I'll send you some links to some of my videos. Sometimes I get really campy and really funny about it. Yeah. But I just, my dad did the NBC News when I was a kid. So we all got blessed with this voice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You're okay. That was
I want to put that little cross the T on that about the whole Hollywood thing. It's not just the entertainment and the movie and the music, but it's the story that underlies it. It's so
Absolutely. Key. Absolutely. Definitely. Very cool. So obviously, storytelling is a huge, if not the biggest part of your book of business, basically, and your strategy. What has been the hardest thing or the biggest challenge that you've encountered in your time in the real estate industry?
Well, I've solved the problem, but being a very creative guy, I'm not a very detailed guy.
Okay.
And when it comes to negotiation, you know, I'm really good at that. And I remember those numbers, and I get right down to the detail, you know, about what we're negotiating for. And when it gets down to negotiating for the repairs, I'm just, you know, I'm there, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a detail guy. So I'm one of those people that the brokers would always say to me, Kevin, you know, you need to have this form put in here. And it's, you know, there's so many forms now. It's just unbelievably stupid. And I had a transaction coordinator when I first started, and she was really, really good. But when I moved to these other companies, I had an outside transaction coordinator or something. But the broker would always say to me, Kevin, you know, we got to get this stock and this stock and this stock before you can close. I'm going, I thought we did all that stuff. And no, you know, and it's like when you say you're not getting any money until you put in a document that nobody cares about.
Mm-hmm.
So now what I've done is I have an excellent transaction coordinator. Keeps me straight. The big picture, I'm great at. The details, I hate.
Totally. But I mean, you've got some help with it, so that's all that matters. You solved the problem.
Exactly.
So is there any one specific client or transaction that you did experience that was like exceedingly difficult or unique or weird in any way?
Yeah. Last year I did one, and the woman walked into the house. I was doing an open house down Laguna Beach,
Mm-hmm.
up on the hills. It was a beautiful house, $3.7 million house. And I was doing this open house, and I was there like forever by myself. And finally, this one woman walks in with her daughter and her ex-husband, I think. And they started talking, and I was kind of showing them around the house. She knew more about the house than I would ever know. She was talking about this beam and that beam. And she goes, you know, I tried to buy this house before. And I said, oh, so you know more about it than I do. And she goes, yeah. She goes, you know, and I'm a broker too. I said, oh. And I kind of joked with her. I said, so you didn't get it bought. You're a broker. What do you do for a living? She goes, I'm a PhD in math. I'm going, okay.
Okay.
And I said, so if you're a broker and you couldn't get a bond for, I said, I bet you really need me. She goes, I can't deal with the guy who owns the house. I just can't deal with him. He's just like, oh, and the words she used were a bit more flowery than what I'm saying.
Of course.
And so I said, let me see what I can do for you. I said, I think I can do this. And she goes, and then of course, I need to sell my house too in order to buy this one. So it ended up being like $5.5 million. But I don't want, in case it's ever heard by any of this other agent, she and this other guy were like, bam, bam, bam. And so I thought, okay, I got to lighten this somehow. So I walked across the street from my office there in Newport Center, walked into Whole Foods, and I bought a blueberry pie. A tiny pie to him.
Yeah.
And she says, you know, I'm just not going to pay him anywhere near what he wants. So I said, okay, so you're a math whiz, you're a PhD in math, so we're going to offer pie. She looks at me and goes, you know, that's quite a ways off what he's going to accept. I said, I know, but we got to get the ball rolling. And he hasn't sold it. He hasn't had any offers, so other than yours. So she goes, well, you know, before I offered him like, you know, 3 point something, 4 or 5 or something like that, and he wouldn't take it. I said, all right, so I put down 3.141596, whatever, and on a little strip, I put it on top of the pie. And I brought the offer in, and he's in my office, right? Brought the offer in, and I put the offer underneath the blueberry pie. I said, all right, so I've got a real sweet deal for you. And he looks at me, he goes, that better not be the number. He goes, that better not be the number. So in any case, after literally months of protracted negotiations, we got a deal. But then of course it was contingent. So then I had to go sell her house. And I did a great little movie for her house. It was kind of going on concurrently. Did a great little movie for her house. And then I had a friend of mine, and I'd written a movie with Jackie Chan. It's a Chinese thing. So I kind of Chinese hip at that point. And so a friend of mine who was with me at Keller in Irvine, she came by the open house, or broker's open or something. I said, hey, you know what, do you mind doing the Chinese voiceover for me? She goes, what? I said, I've got it all done. I got the script right here. She goes, okay. So she does this Chinese, and I dropped it into the movie. And these movies, by the way, are all on my YouTube channel, which is Inspired KK, YouTube Inspired KK.
Okay, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, so I had her do the movie for me in Chinese, and then I started blasting it out to all my database. And we sold it to a Chinese buyer who saw the movie. And,
that's amazing.
Funny part about all, for me, being looking for the lighter side of life, the lady who bought it, her agent told me, she says, you know, the person you had doing that Chinese overdub or that Chinese, voiceover, she had kind of a Mongolian accent. I thought so.
Of course, I knew that.
I did it on purpose. I was looking for a Mongolian buyer.
Duh.
But okay, so I sold her house for what she needed to get out of it, and it was successful. And then we bought the other house, and they closed within a day of each other.
Okay, very cool. Wow.
And it was like $5.6 or $7 million.
Awesome.
But it was very difficult. I mean, and when you read her testimonial about it, wow. It's like
interesting.
And to this day, we'll be on Facebook or something. She'll say something about, doing something to the house and go on and on about the other agent,
Uh-huh.
But so yeah, there are people that are just more difficult than others to work with.
Of course. As an indie industry, of course.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm pretty easy to work with, but I am the guy who will go in fairly low on a buy. I have no problem, asking for the moon, the stars, and the sun. And I'm very happy with just the moon and the stars.
Yep.
Got to do that. I mean, last year, just for data, and I know some agents will roll their eyes when they hear this, but last year, which was a good year in real estate, I think my average discount was 9%.
Oh, wow.
But the technology or the reports are 2.25% But, a lot of people overprice their houses. I always say it's going to sell for what it's worth, not for what you think, so yeah, that's that. But yeah, so I've had some tricky ones. The trickiest one is probably my first, because I really didn't have a clue what I was doing. And worst case, the buyer was from New York, and he kept saying, well, when do the lawyers come in? I said, well, you don't do lawyers in California. I need to get a lawyer. You don't think we need lawyers? I said, no, we don't use lawyers. It's an escrow state. And he was just adamant that, we needed a lawyer. But I've kind of seen a lot of crazy stuff,
But hopefully the difficult ones are more far and few between than the good ones.
Yeah.
Good. Definitely. Well, transitioning a little bit more into what's going on in the world today, which, I'm sure we've all heard plenty about. But I do want to ask you, how has your business experience been amid the coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic, and all of the restrictions, especially in California? I think we're going to be, one of the last states to get back to normal operations. But how have you been handling everything?
I lost deals. I did put out something on my website, which is Kevin A. Kent. I did put something out about virtual or digital open houses, and I've done one or two, but without result. I mean, I have a lot of buyers right now that I'm working with, and they'll just say bluntly to me, I'm interested in seeing what's out there, put me on the thing where I can keep seeing what's coming up and what's new, but I'm not going to do anything until this is over.
Yeah.
And specifically just a bunch of your leads. That's what they say. I talk to them, I have great conversations, I'm putting them on an MLS drip, and then that's the best I can do. And I can call them every couple of weeks. I can, whatever it does, but they're still not going to make any movements. I had one guy down the peninsula, $2.2 or $3 or $4, maybe $5 million deal. And he has a business that, I don't know if I'm supposed to disclose this stuff. He has a business that he does ATMs in all the bars and the restaurants, gas stations, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He was ready to go. He had $500,000 in the bank, ready to go. He had nice income, and he had to move out by May. Right. This is the first week of the thing. I met him the week before.
Yeah.
Because we actually met face to face. And then I called him 2 weeks later. I said, so what's happening with your business? He goes, I've lost 80% of my income.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
I didn't tell him, well, I've lost 100% of mine.
Yeah.
But it's been a real crunch, and I've had relationships, blossom that I probably wouldn't have spent so much time with because I wasn't doing anything else. The other thing I did, which I think is interesting, is I started calling old clients, which I know you're supposed to do all the time anyhow, but you don't do it, right?
It's tough.
So I started calling my old clients and just saying, how you doing? In fact, I had this one Chinese buyer. It was one of my very first deals. I called him, started talking to him, and he goes, look, Kevin, I love my house. I really don't want to sell it. I said, I'm not calling about that. I'm just calling to see how you're doing. You okay? Is everything good? And I'd had lunch with him one time. He works near where I am. But he just kept thinking there's got to be some reason I'm calling him. And I really just called him just to see if everybody's okay.
Yeah.
And that may have been one of the smartest things I did. I did that in the first couple of weeks. I just kind of let's go down the list and start calling people. And so that was a neat one, a little caveat, to enhance my future business.
Definitely. And it means so much to them. They have so many other things to be worrying about and stressing about. The last thing they want to do is, talk to a salesperson, but you're calling to just continue that relationship that you've already built with them. And that means more to them than, any of us could ever know, I'm sure.
It's cool. I mean, it's established that I kind of am who I said I was.
Exactly. Definitely. I'm sorry to hear that, things are slowing down big time, but hopefully, it's California, so who knows, but hopefully things will reopen soon.
By contrast, we have some massive deals cooking right now. Huge deals cooking right now.
Okay.
And I'm just right before I got on the line with you, I sent up all this data and all these spreadsheets and all these designs and, stuff for a couple deals they're big. I mean, they're bigger than my last year's sales. Just one of them bigger than my last. Yeah, so that was my agenda in moving over to the other side of the hill. Mm-hmm. You don't just walk over there and start selling $20-30 million houses.
Of course.
And that market, I don't know if you watched the Stephen Thomas stuff, another guy, testimonial. I love Stephen Thomas reports.
Yeah.
And I like him a lot, primarily because he's got 9 kids and he's still alive.
Wow.
No, he's a great guy and he's got great information and it's very realistic. I mean, it is the data. And, he's showing that we are climbing back up, 3% 2 weeks ago, 7% last week, as far as actual numbers of escrow properties going into escrow.
Good.
So I like that kind of stuff. And I'm really kind of a data guy. I was with all with our mask on. Where's my mask?
Yeah.
Our mask on for a pitch day before yesterday in San Clemente. And, honestly, the guy just wants too much money for the property. And I was there with a team member that I work with, Reggie. And, she's great at the designs, the interior designs and all this kind of stuff. And she's like me. She's old enough where she'll just be blunt,
Yeah.
Okay. So she goes, well, what do you think? She goes, this place looks like hell. You can't sell this place like this. What do you think? You got to clean up the front yard. In fact, you should put grass up there. And you call this staging? What is this? To get some real staging in here. Then I talked to him, of course, being a techie guy, about virtual staging. Looks really cool. And if I'm putting the virtual staging in a movie, it works really, really well.
Yeah.
But in any case, we had this very blunt conversation with somebody, and he's off by $500,000 on the price of this property, I think.
Wow.
And so those kind of conversations are, it's a $5 million property, but nevertheless, those kind of conversations are tough to have with people. Mm-hmm. They kind of don't want to have it, but he had realtors before we got there, and after, and he calls the next day and goes, I really like you guys. You're smart, man. You guys are really smart. And we just kind of told him we were honest, And I think the other agent says, oh, you want, whatever million, how many millions for this property? Okay, let's go here, sign this agreement. Let's get going. And they would not have been in his best interest. I believe we'll get the listing probably tomorrow, but I'll do a movie about it. I'll do a broker's open via the movies, and I'll blast it out to 40,000 of my best friends. And it's like, it's just a different. We have to adapt to a different way of doing business. But it was kind of funny. We're all down there, with our mask on, and I had my gloves on, and walking around the house. And part of me's going, "This is ridiculous,"
Yeah.
But you got to do it because that's OCAR. That's the Realtors Association saying you have to do that.
Yeah.
But no, it has not been good. I've eaten too much. Whenever I finish a little task in my office, I go, time to get something to eat.
I deserve a snack.
And it's been tough. And I think what we're going to see is a kind of explosive, as soon as they change that ruling in OCAR, I think we're going to see an explosive sales, because sales are pent up. I mean, when I get leads through you guys, that the people aren't saying, oh, I don't really want to buy a house. They say, no, I want to buy a house. I just don't know when or what's out there. I need information. And so it's, the Chinese curse, right? May you live during interesting times. Here we are.
Here we are. Well, hopefully, I'm glad to hear that, even losing deals, you still have a good attitude and a passion for what you do, and you're still trucking, which is good to hear. And I do think that it's going to be over soon, and hopefully things will go back to normal. But with the experience that we have had, and this is such a once in a lifetime experience, obviously, what do you predict as being the new normal when hosting open houses and talking to clients? What changes do you think are going to come about?
I've learned how to shake hands by kicking someone's foot.
Balance.
The whole new normal thing, I hate that because it means that we have to change forever, and I don't think we do.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good insight, actually.
and I think that when we come out of this thing in a couple of months from now, and it's all kind of said and done, I don't think it's going to be nearly as bad as everybody's trying to do. And I'm not all that political, but I think it's to the left's advantage to have everybody locked up in their house and mail in votes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. But you live in Newport. I mean, I market to Newport. It's kind of a different element over there. And what I have seen is that a lot of people from, one of the houses I sold, in fact, this is interesting politically too. I sold the house that the guy who lost the Republican seat in Costa Mesa.
Okay.
He sold his house and moved back to Maine, and I sold that house for him. And the buyers were a wonderful couple. They're good friends of mine now, who were moving from Corona. They wanted to move west. They wanted to move further. They wanted to get out of that whole Corona area, and he had the funds to do so. And this was Dana Rohrabacher's house, by the way. And so he's tearing it down, and it's going to be amazing what he's doing to it. But I see and I hear of a lot of the leads that I'm getting. They're moving from somewhere to here, and in a lot of cases, even on the very expensive houses like Emerald Bay and Irvine Cove and these kind of areas. These are people from elsewhere.
Yeah.
Who are moving here because of the environment. It's cleaner. They're not tickled to death by the way our states run, but hopefully that can change. Okay. But they're moving from elsewhere to live here, and so we're kind of that escapist. I said to one person on a house I was showing, I said, "This looks like a pretty good place to quarantine, doesn't it?"
It's true, though.
It's true, absolutely. And so I think that's something we have that's kind of lucked us out a little bit. I also see that, at our company, and I'm certainly not a big player at our company at all, because we have people doing 150, 200 million, right? But I think that what we are experiencing is those people are just they're paying cash. There's to get a loan right now that's not conforming. It's almost impossible. It's crazy. Oh, do you have an 845 credit score?
Yeah.
It's almost that bad,
Yeah.
And are you putting down 90%? Oh, then we'll consider giving you it's like, it's gone off the rails. And on the other hand, in comparison to 2008, when the market crashed and all that kind of stuff, this time around, didn't crash because of bad loans. It didn't crash because people, didn't pay their mortgages. It wasn't in the banks aren't lending to people and then giving you 5% back on your. It wasn't mistakes that were made, by a government trying to push loans onto everybody.
Yeah.
This is just an outside thing that happened, and I feel really, really bad. I haven't made any money, so it's like on the one hand, I can certainly yell and scream, and because the money we made, I don't know if we're going to get anything either. But but I do see the people that want to live here still want to live here, and they still want a deal, they still want all those things, but we've just got to get past, the banks. It's like the banks are getting trillions of dollars. Why can't they funnel some of that to loosen up the load on loans? And really what it is the loan interest are so low, the banks don't want to give them, Yeah. I heard this morning Trump talking about borrowing money from the feds with negative interest. And I'm kind of going, wait a minute, isn't that what got the whole country into trouble with the loans in 2008?
Like, hold on a second.
But no, it's it's like that Chinese curse. May you live during interesting times. I don't know. Fortunately, on that side of the hill, and here in Irvine too. Irvine loaded with people that can afford to live here. But the ones that scare me are the ones that are Chico, Corona, out in the outlying areas where they're living paycheck to paycheck. That could be scary.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's so interesting how, some of those cities are, bordering our county. Orange County is a more affluent county, obviously. And yeah, the counties bordering us are not, and they're going to suffer a lot more than we are here. So it is kind of weird, especially just to say at my age, so many people in my generation, especially here in Orange County, we're not directly experiencing anything. So we just think everything's over. And a lot of people aren't having to, a lot of people are being furloughed and everything. But with the COVID, everyone's like, well, it's over. We're going to go outside now and everything. And we're not thinking about the long-term impacts of what's going to happen with the economy, with our health, because there's just so many things floating around and going on right now.
Well, I think the value, an interesting thing right now is that the values of the houses, everybody's going, I'm going to wait for the properties to go down 10 or 20%.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I really don't. They haven't really dropped. I mean, I looked at some properties in Costa Mesa for a client today, and there were 20 properties that fit his bill, what he was looking for. And of those, 8 of them had reductions, but the reductions were, $899 to $888, $1.2 million to $1.195.
Yeah.
Kind of symbolic. And the reason why a realtor will do that is it then sends it out that this property's been reduced, and it goes to all the realtor estates.
The notification out there.
See it, yeah. But we're not seeing any huge discount. We're not seeing discounts as much as I negotiated for my clients last year.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. They're doing the same kind of discounts that they would on a regular basis. It's not anything special specifically for what's going on.
And in real numbers and understanding it, I mean, when you go from a 4 or 5% loan to a 3% loan, I mean, that's giving you an extra 10% borrowing. So you can buy 10% more house than you could anyhow, right? I'll point out, since I'm not, how old are you, 25? Since I'm not 21 or whatever, right? I bought my first house when I was 23, and it was 1981 or something like that, 82 maybe. The interest rates after the excellent Carter administration, my first was 9%, my second was 12%, and my third was 15%.
Wow.
All for a house that was $83,000, right?
Oh.
But I mean, those interest rates were crazy. But I bought a house. I knew I needed to buy a house.
Yep.
And I made some money on it at the end of the day. But so I talked to a financial guy yesterday, and he says, look, right now I'm thinking, you look at the stock market, how volatile that is. We lost 800 points or something the last 2 days. It'll go back up again, as soon as they make some other announcement about a new type of mask that this or that, whatever. Will it get back up to almost 30,000? It might, I mean, and I do think that the market's poised to take a big leap as soon as things get back in action, and people are, I mean, Americans, they like to work, they like to have results, they want to be productive.
Absolutely.
And I think it'll turn around quickly. But when it comes to the property values, it's like, if you can get a house right now that's 2 or 3% less than what the person thinks it's worth, even 5% less than the person thinks it's worth, and you're getting it at 3%, get it.
Yeah.
You're not going to lose money, and everybody needs to live someplace. But I think that the perception that, and I have a couple buyers, are they from you? Yeah, I think they are. They have a couple of buyers who are saying, I'm waiting for the market to drop. I think the market's going to drop down 15%. So what's that data based on? Well, and I'm going, no, I kind of know the opposite. So tell me where that is, and I'll help you.
Yeah.
I said, even people who are ready to move out of California because they hate our governor so much and our taxes so much, they're still not going to discount their house 15%.
Definitely.
So I think the real estate market's better than the stock market. Is it better than gold or silver? Probably. Certainly better than foreign investments. And I think, especially in Orange County, Newport Beach, Irvine, down south, San Clemente, Dana Point, Laguna Beach, if you can stand getting in and out of there. They're good investments. They just are. They're a good place to park your money. I mean, here in Irvine, and I live on the lake in South Lake, there's a couple of houses around me that people bought the properties. I think they visited it a couple times, but they don't live there, and they parked it there. And one of them bought a house for like $1 million. It's now worth $1.2 million. Wow. So in the last 2 years, they made $200,000 for doing nothing.
Yeah.
So as an investment, I don't think it's going to go down. It may not go up to some crazy rates again, but I'll tell you, if the stock market takes off and the interest rates are still low, it will take off even more so.
Definitely.
But you got to live someplace. You got to.
Everybody needs a place to live.
Yeah. Life can be short, so live and love it. But
definitely.
Yeah, I pay attention to a lot of the forecast stuff. I'm on a lot of blogs that talk about all this stuff, and I find it interesting. I mean, I'm not selling my house. I'm not, going anywhere, but I'm also not going to go out and buy an investment property tomorrow because I don't see a big check coming in yet.
Yep.
But my world is like, I go a month and nothing, then I go a month and get a huge check. So it's different for me. I have a lovely wife who's an attorney, and she does well as an attorney. She's a litigator. I think that if I'm trying to encourage my kids to buy houses, and one of them's just kind of getting his feet on the ground. The other one just graduated. but no Major League Baseball now. And he's trying to decide what he wants to do. Hey, maybe I should send him down a set schedule for an interview.
There you go. We're hired.
He doesn't know what he wants to do, and I kind of unusual. He's probably only a year or two younger than you, but he's brilliant. And I'm just kind of saying to myself, well, what do you want to do? What are you passionate about? Because in my life, I've always done what I've wanted to do. I've always done music and movies, and always had a lot of fun doing them. He doesn't really have that figured out yet, and I think that is one thing that's different. A lot of people are graduating right now. I don't want to say your age, because I think you're a little bit older.
A little bit.
But I think that defining that passion, the same thing with realtors too. It's like, if you really love selling condos and that's your world, and you love condos because you live in a condo, well, go sell condos.
Yeah.
If you really love, being on the water, and you can break into that market and you know how to do it because you grew up on the water, do that. You kind of got to go after what you're passionate about. And I think that's the one thing that's missing in general. A lot of realtors I meet, they're just kind of like, hello.
Yeah.
Who's in there?
Do you like this or not?
Yeah. Well, I've heard some funny things. One of them is that nobody plans to be a realtor. It's like their option,
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I was kind of done. I directed feature films and television. I thought I was done. And then when this thing happened with my son, I just said, okay, back at it. And I've had a really good time, and I really like what I do. And I meet some great people, and I've got a team member in Beverly Hills now. And I got a team member down here in Corona Del Mar, and we're having a lot of fun.
Awesome.
And it's a lot of work, though. I always think it's funny, the Beverly Hills person thinks I'm never doing any work, and the Newport CDM person has to say, Kevin's working his ass off. What are you talking about?
Well, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, right?
Yeah, kind of. It's still.
Well,
I'm a writer too, so I'm working on another book right now about how to do business with the banks.
Okay.
Because as optimistic as I am, there may be a bunch more bank-owned properties coming up. Who knows? But I don't know. Nobody has a crystal ball, but I think if you pay attention to what Stephen Thomas has to say about Orange, he now does all the counties, but specifically about Orange County for us, you'll know more than the next guy.
Yeah.
And when people say, I'm not going in unless it's 10% down, and I'm 10% off, and you say, okay, we can try that, but no promises. And I've done that a bunch of times. I've gone in with people, some crazy offer, and the owner or the other listing agent looks at me and goes, Kevin, I thought you were better than this. I said, just relax. Counter. Give me the counter. This is the starting point. And I had one guy who was the commercial broker guy. The person wrote back and said, what do they say? How do they word this? They said, after the third counter, last and final. And so the person I was working with, who was in real estate, he says, well, I guess that's it, huh? And we're still off by $50,000, $60,000. I said, well, what do you mean that's it? Because it says final. I said, so? I said, this isn't retail. I mean,
yeah.
And so we countered back again, and we got it. And it's fun. So let me ask you this. I got a question for you.
Sure.
So of your lead that you were getting in January, February versus now, have you gone from X to X minus 20%, or what's happened with you guys as far as lead flow is concerned? Numbers.
That is not my area of expertise, unfortunately. I don't work with the salespeople at all. But I do know, lead wise, I can't really answer any questions, but if you want to talk tech, I can give you some answers. We have, lots of apps that we're rolling out over the next few months, within the next year. But lead aggregation wise, I think I was speaking to one of the other managers, and they said, the number of houses that are on the market right now is down like less than 2 million across the entire nation, which is significantly lower than the usual average of like 9 million. So I would say, I'm sure number wise, it's probably, there's less leads than normal, but I can't say for sure.
And then there's demand. And the listings are so low right now. At one point, I think when I looked it up, it was like there's 3,500 listings where there's normally 8,000.
Wow.
It's considered full mark 35. And that keeps the price up. Basic supply and demand, that keeps the price up. But on the side of the market I like, which is the stuff plus, if you can't get a loan, but
Yeah.
I mean, you guys somewhere, I don't know if I talked to Damon or Damon or whatever it is, but somebody, I would just love to see one, because you guys, because you're aggregating,
Hmm.
you see from a lot of various sources what's coming, and you see and I just wonder if the demand of people looking, if it's come down or not.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
find
it's a good question.
I just find on the other end of that, the people that I talk to, they're interested, and they're interested in talking to me, they're interested in knowing me as an advisor, but they're
Hmm.
not ready to pull the trigger.
Yep. Yeah,
You know?
definitely.
Yeah.
A lot of uncertainties flying around right now.
Yeah.
Like
There is.
that.
What did you study in school?
Psychology and criminal justice.
You're in the perfect spot.
Yeah, right. But now I do digital and media content and design. So I do app design for Set Schedule, and then I also run the social media and website content, podcasts, obviously. So I do have my hand in a few different things, except for sales. So.
I did 5 apps.
Oh.
When the year it came out,
Okay.
And one of them was the School of Rock for Paramount. I did that one for Paramount.
Oh, that's so awesome.
But I'm a techie guy. I've done video games and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, but I had a digital media company for about 10 years.
That's awesome. You've done so many things. It's so cool.
That's why I kind of never want to go down the bunny hole too far, because it's like, yeah, I've done that. Oh yeah, I've done that.
Oh yeah, yep. Been there, done that. Well, well, hopefully I can do as much as you've done once I'm your age.
Hopefully, go.
Well, before we run out of time, I do want to ask. Obviously you have so much experience in so many different aspects of just life in general, professions, hobbies, everything that you've done. But for real estate, what piece of advice would you give to someone that's just starting out as a real estate agent?
There's a bunch of advices I would give somebody. The first one is choose your database wisely.
Okay.
Follow up with everybody at least 4 times that you meet. Do open houses, as many as you can possibly get your hands on. And people who've been doing this for a long time, they don't really want to do their open houses. So you can, but you got to prove yourself. You got to say, when I do an open house, I blast it out to my social media and I got 1,400 people on, whatever. Just go ahead and give them the numbers, right? And practice your open houses. Practice at your own home. Have your friend in with a margarita. Have your friend walk in and give the open house to them. And so I have one funny story about this, by the way. So the very first open house I did, the person I sold it to, what I had heard in the training was, okay, so let them come to the house down below and then send them up the stairs to look at the bedrooms, but let them get a sense of the house. Because you don't sell a house to somebody unless they feel like they could live there, unless they feel like they could make it their own, is the phrase, right? So this guy came in early, like 15 minutes early, really wanted to see this house. And so I let him in, we were talking a little bit, and I said, well, just go ahead and go on upstairs. And I just really wasn't, I was green. I had no idea what I was doing. It's like literally the first open house. So he goes upstairs, and then I hear this blood-curdling scream, woman's scream. And he comes running down the stairs. I'm sorry, I didn't know. I said, well, what? She goes, she was in the shower. And I said, I haven't been up there yet. I said, what do you mean? She goes, it's a glass shower.
Oh no.
Well, that was one of the things you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Don't let people in early. But another thing on open houses, circle prospecting works, and it gives you a little bit of a branch, even if it's 20 houses around and put something on everybody's door and let them know you're doing an open house. I stopped doing cookies or sandwiches or anything like that because it just makes a mess. But I'm a big Jolly Rancher fan.
There you go.
My Jolly Rancher bucket, the front of it says Orange County Realtors, right?
That's perfect.
But you don't want to spend your time on doing stuff that nobody appreciates.
Definitely.
And sandwiches everybody always brings home because nobody eats them. Cookies just make a mess, especially chocolate chip. So I kind of got it down now. I just do that. I do have I have a sign-in sheet. Like I said, I use my book I should license my book.
Yeah.
I have my book that I give people away. Because a classic give-get. I give somebody something. Nobody refuses me their information, by the way, once I give a book and dedicate it to them and I've written in it.
Yeah.
Wow, this guy's cool. And the truth is, one guy came back to me and I ran into him at a restaurant. He says, your silly book, going through that stuff, I saved like 20 grand.
That's awesome.
I said, okay, you owe me $20 for the book.
Yeah. You owe me 20 grand for the book.
I never charge anything. But what else would I tell a first-time realtor? You want to find someone in the office who you like, who's entertaining, and ask if you can them on a listing presentation. You can shadow them on a sales presentation and on open houses. And it's fine and dandy to. I mean, a lot of the companies, they make you pay. They assign you to somebody and say, okay, we have to pay them half your commission if they help you sell this out. And on the one hand, that's kind of, I guess, okay. I never did that, but I guess it's kind of okay to get that training. But you just want to glom on to anybody who you see is happy and is doing well and isn't angry at the world.
Yeah.
Because you have to learn somehow. And, I had a big advantage that I'd trained salespeople my whole life. I mean, I had 50 salespeople working for me at one point.
Mm-hmm.
I've always trained salespeople, and it's kind of like the care and handling of Wolverines. It's like they can be nasty characters. And so I know the drill, and I know that if you're not with the right person, you get very distressed.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have that. You want to keep your, like you said, whether it's the passion or excitement or whatever, you got to keep that going because people pick up on that. I mean, if you go out to dinner with somebody, you want to go to someone to dinner with who's all gloom.
Yeah.
And in business, you kind of lose your confidence in somebody if they're not confident in themselves.
Yeah.
So,
it's definitely very true.
Sales manager.
For any industry. Sales manager 101.
Yeah. So I guess those are the biggies for me. And my database now after 5 years has grown massive. I mean, I can say, oh, let's go out and see if we got any sellers in Corona Del Mar. And, oh, we got 2,000 people.
Wow.
Let's go out and see who's got in Newport. Okay, there's 4,000 people in Newport. Irvine, 13,000 people.
Wow.
It's like crazy. But I've just made a point of, collecting and, glomming onto any data I can. And that's one we're doing right now. That's the one down in San Clemente. Sent it out to Corona Del Mar, and this lady who's like 95 years old calls my partner, and she says, I got to get my son off the stick on this house he built down there. I got to get him going. She's talking to him for about 20, 30 minutes. And so he calls her and says, okay, let's go see the house. And my mom says, I should meet with you.
Like, look at that connection to connection.
I may have been emailing to her for 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's that, I'm big on drip campaigns. I think those work. I'm also, what my favorite thing of all is going into the MLS and, talking to someone, finding out what it is. And a lot of the clients I've gotten from Set Schedule are now on my MLS drips. So
Mm-hmm.
they're not ready to buy anything right now. They, a lot of times they don't. One of my pet peeves is someone on the Set Schedule say 2 to 3 million. All they can afford is 1.2 million. So, okay, fine. But I'll put them on a drip from houses that are 900,000 to 1.3.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had a couple comments. Why 1.3? I said, if you find a house for 1.3 that you love, we'll get it down to 1.2. You sure? I said, no, I'm not sure.
No.
But let's try. And but I get them on the drip on the MLS, and then I can track them. I can see what they're up to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's key.
Definitely. Well, I think that's great advice. And Kevin, it's been so awesome. All of your stories and all of your experiences, so amazing. And I think our listeners are going to be very, very excited to listen to this episode of Meet the Agent.
Your editor is going to look at you and go, really?
Really? We've got a lot of good content to work with, so I'm excited.
Thanks again for joining us for another episode of Meet the Agent. We hope you enjoyed the episode and would love to get your feedback. Send us an email at media@setschedule.com with your comments or questions. Don't forget to connect with us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And if you like what you hear and can't get enough free content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/setschedule. Until next time, happy selling!